If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team or one of the dedicated agents at Boston Connect Real Estate to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with us at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all our South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Mary Baker, and I'm joined here in studio with my team member, Melissa Wallace.
Hello.
And on the fly, we are joined by our team lead over there, Sharon McNamara, who is hosting showings, actually in the middle of hosting showings at one of our listings up at 11 Chelmsford in Dorchester. Our
little dot, there I am.
How are your showings going?
They're going great, actually. We have one listing that's currently on the market here at 11 Chelmsford Street. That is a two-family. That is awesome. It just happens to be one of my best friends, Karen Monroe. And we have another one that's sort of off market for right now that I actually showed an investor to earlier. So he loves it. And I think that he's going to be putting an offer in and flipping it into some condos, and we'll probably be listing those.
That'll be nice. I'm actually, so earlier today, early this morning, we were in Roslindale doing
7 a.m.
kind of like a final walkthrough punch list-esque thing with a builder that was over there. And I was telling somebody else, where I was from. I was just at photos for a property, and she goes, "Do you ever miss Dorchester? Do you ever miss the city? Because you're like in the burbs now. So do you ever miss it?" And I go, I thought I didn't. And then being in there this morning, I was like, it's really kind of nice. You walk across the street, there's a coffee shop, you get yourself a nice guava smoothie. And I got a bagel. It was nice.
Yeah, it was.
The hustle and bustle, and everybody's out so early. There are people walking their dogs, jogging. It's like, wow, it's quiet town down in Pembroke right now.
Yeah, I do miss
it sometimes.
Yeah. And even around here where I am, I'm on Chelmsford Street, right in Adams Village. And I was really, really hungry. And Karen ordered me a meatball and ricotta pizza from down the street, Malario's or something like that. Really, really good. So
that sounds delicious.
But I'll be right back. I'm just going to grab you a pizza. I'm like, perfect.
So do you have a showing that's coming in? Are they going to be hosted live on the radio with us? Because that would be fun. Who knows?
If they show up, but I'm not going to lie, the last one sort of ditched me and they didn't show up, but that's okay. I mean, I had nothing better to do between my appointment at 12. So, I had one at 4. I had one at 4, so I was still here anyway. So,
real life of a real estate agent, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I know that you and Mel worked on this agenda. We were going to do this show last week, but ultimately weren't able to do that. So Mel, do you want to let all of our WATV listeners know? I believe we're on Facebook.
We are on Facebook. So if you want to look at us instead of just listen to us, you can go to McNamara Broker Team. You can go to Boston Connect Real Estate on Facebook. If you're friends with Sharon Costa McNamara, we're on all the Connect pages. So if you're a part of, Hanover, Pembroke, Marshfield, all those fun pages, you can see us. If you want to talk to us too, you can comment on our video, or we'll try to interact in that way. Not to get distracted, but you can give Ben a call at the studio too, if you want to talk to us. So it's 781-837-4900, and he'll connect you to us. We got Ben tonight. Hello, Ben.
Ben.
I think next week we're going to be pre-recorded, so you won't be able to interact with us. But we'll try to think of something to do fun on Facebook and on Instagram. But
then we can interact with them as they listen to the pre-recorded show. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. So tonight we are going to be talking about sort of the whole real estate process. So what comes first? Mary, I think you came up with this sort of idea So maybe you can give a little blurb. Oh, don't look at me like that, like you're nervous, like you've never done the show before. But you know what? I'm giving the show to you. And Sharon, I know it's actually your show, but like I'm giving the show to you, Mary.
No longer my show. It's all yours. But I just realized as I'm sitting here again in Dorchester doing the show, I'm nothing without you guys, because usually I just hand you my phone and you like get me hooked up to Facebook so I can answer questions and like post things. I can't find it. So anyways, I'm looking. That's why I'm not
Go to
doing
your
it.
own page.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's the best place to start.
I can write up descriptions, for directions like I did for your father's new phone, if you'd like.
I know.
Oh yeah, I forgot you did that.
Yeah, well, he came by today. He's such a cutie. But
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank. Okay, so we're calling it what comes first. So
Yeah.
Mary, what does that mean?
So I thought it would be kind of interesting because we're in such a weird market that we've been getting a lot of calls from even former clients or new clients or people who are just finding a house that they absolutely love. Maybe they were considering selling in a year, or maybe it was something that was on the back burner and the perfect house just kind of came up. I thought it would be nice to kind of revert backwards and say, actually finding the house first, what are the pros and cons, and vice versa, what are the pros and cons for listing your house? So kind of a nice overview of what we should be doing and in the process of how we would suggest doing it. Not everybody is the same,
Okay.
but some process that kind of works for us, and that's it.
Well, I know you guys are very into sort of numbers and statistics and all that stuff. And Mary, you were prepared last week. We didn't end up doing the show.
this week, though.
Prepared last week, and I know when you came in, you were looking up some updated stats. So why don't we start off with that? So let's give a market update. What are we seeing in the market? How are we feeling? Are we feeling a slowdown? Let's see what you came up with, Mary.
So it's funny because every once in a while, we've talked about it on the radio show before that I like this app called HomeSnap, and it's really more geared towards realtors than it is the average consumer. I wonder what the average consumer sees on their end when we set them up. But every so often, I'll get an email, or as soon as I log in, it says, how are you feeling about the market? Are you more optimistic or are you more pessimistic? And what they're doing is trying to gauge where their realtors across all of the United States are kind of feeling about the markets that they're in. Recently, I found, and I know Sharon's probably been hearing the same thing, how's the market doing? Are you feeling something like, is it seeming like we've kind of reached that pinnacle and now we're starting to slow down?
Yeah.
And I was curious to see, is that something that's local to us, or is it something that we have stats to back up? And
yeah. Why don't you go over some of your stats, Sharon? Obviously, she's gone. I look over and there's a kitchen. Okay. You go over your sort of stats and like sort of like a general thing, and then maybe talk about how you're feeling, maybe as like a buyer's agent, and then Sharon as a listing agent, and then I can sort of go over as like an overview of the company as well.
I like that.
Sort of what I'm seeing.
So really, and we'll just use obviously 2021 as our example, starting in January. And I only pulled for Plymouth County just because we're keeping it really hyper local, kind of on WATD here, but I can provide these stats, or anybody can provide these stats for any county that you're looking in. So for January, there, out of all of Plymouth County, all style houses, there were 528 sold listings, right? The average sale price at that point was 501, and the sale to offer price ratio was 99. So similarly, in February, we took a little bit of a dip, which we kind of tend to, just because it's a shorter month, and we do, when you're doing total sold market statistics, you're really looking at the month prior to. So that was 407, average sale price down to 476, still sale price to offer price ratio 99. Then in March, we have a nice little upswing to 558, average sale price 537. And now we start to see where we're getting those multiple offers over asking. So the sale price to offer price goes up to 102.
Why do you think that in March?
So, I mean, if you're really looking sold market statistics, you're feeling that kind of a month before. So if we're looking in January, those properties probably went under agreement in December and vice versa, kind of trickling down.
Mhm.
But we do. So what do we always say you can listen to any year of us on the radio. We say February is the unofficial start to the spring market. So it makes perfect sense that more listings were coming on in February and they were selling for higher in March,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So get to April. I'm just going to say April, June, July, or yeah, April, May, June. I skipped May. You start to
Never even noticed.
you start to see like a really
Did you ever think we'd see the day that Mary would be like so into like data? Look at
I
her
know,
list.
considering
well, so because
she's not very good at math.
no, this is why I'm literally reading off of paper. I can't screw this up. So
Keep
February.
going. You're doing a great job.
So not February, sorry, in April, we go up from 558 to 602 and our sale price goes up to 550. Again, we're seeing the multiple offers at sale price to offer price at 102. This is where you start to see the big swing, and that everybody was kind of, when we were saying it's fast, furious, it's crazy, the market is just absolutely insane. I would say was like April, May, that it was just insane.
Mhm.
So May stats, you go up to 676 for total sold, jumped from 550 in April to 610 in May for your average sale price, and go up to 103.
This is the average sale price.
This average sale price.
I have sort of a theory on that.
Let's
You
hear
want
it.
Yeah, what's
So tell me those months again. Why?
It's a radio show. It's all you.
So-
You get to give your thoughts, whether they're right or wrong.
so April was 550
Yeah,
and then May was 610.
April, May. Yeah. So we're getting into summer. I feel like that's when people want to sell their summer homes. They want to sell their homes that have pools because they want people to enjoy them during the summertime.
Mhm.
So people are going to spend higher prices. Those are higher price pointed homes that have sort of the amenities that people want for the summertime. So you're thinking about those things. So it's like, oh, I really want the pool. I really want to be able to enjoy this right now. I will give whatever, especially after quarantine. It's like you've been living in a house maybe, or a condo or something, apartment, whatever you're coming from, that might not fit your needs, suit your needs, your lifestyle, whatever lifestyle you want to get used to after being stuck in the house for so long. So now you want to enjoy the outdoors. And I feel like maybe a higher price point home might have that square footage and that price point, that the amenities that somebody might want.
I think that's a good, I think that's a good approach. I think where you're going with that. And I really do feel like any listing that we put on the market that had a pool, it was everybody. It was
gone for
it was
well
gone.
over.
Yeah. And two, Sunshine Pool, Heather and Jim Stone, awesome people. They own Sunshine Pool here in Pembroke Center. The greatest people, wonderful company. I've been working with that company for years. We bumped into them at a restaurant a couple of weeks ago, and it was like taking reservations like 2 years out. But it's hard to do that because look what happened with supply and demand of all like vinyl, and having a hard time getting all these supplies to even put a pool in. So that's why it's increasing too. But I think that that's a good theory that you have there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, they can't be giving out quotes, just reservations, because you wouldn't want to do that 2 years in advance, right?
No, well, they've now, just like everybody, even like with new construction, I think that there might be like a little line in there, like based on, construction costs and blah, blah, blah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, Mary.
So
proceed on.
I'll go a little bit quicker, but we make a huge jump from May to June solds. So these are properties that went under agreement in May and sold in June. So there was 676 all the way up to 839.
Mhm.
So we sold a lot in the month of June, but actually our average sale price went down by a little bit. So it went to 593, but that comes with the territory of the inundation of inventory was probably at potentially a lower price point that kind of brought that average down, right? Then in July, so now from June, we're all the way up in the 8s. July, we're back down in the 7s. So we're 741 for July. Average sale price lower, 569, right?
What county?
I'm doing Plymouth County.
Oh, Plymouth County. Okay. Thank you.
So that was the month of July. And then, so month to date, as of today in August, we're down from in July, 741 to 574 in August. And our average sale price is down to 542.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some stats to back up that there's less houses being sold month over month from about May, and the sale prices are going down. The average sale price across the board is going down. But with that, the offer to sale price ratio doesn't go down. So we're seeing consistently 103 or 102, 103, and even 104 across the months. So again, with lower inventory, people are still bidding high. It's just, I don't know if we have more, I don't know what's really bringing that average down, but we're not listing as many properties. Ergo, well, since May, we're not listing as many properties. Ergo, this average sale price for the town or the county of Plymouth is going down.
So
Again,
are you feeling a slowdown?
yeah. I'm backing myself up because so emotionally I can say, yeah, it's been kind of nice to get a break. It's been a little quiet, and I don't.
Melissa's like,
I'm asking you next, Sharon.
After all that, like, what do you see in a slowdown?
So
I think I might have just heard the doorbell ring. I have to go see if my showing's here. I'll be right
Maybe
back.
put us on mute.
I'll put you on mute. Yep.
All right. So Sharon can answer later when she comes back.
Yeah, but I thought that was interesting. So it is like we saw in January, we started 528. Those were our total market stats. And now back in August, we're 574. Next week, we'll see a lot of properties close. If I'm predicting, we'll probably see around 610 to 625, probably rounding up. Yeah, maybe even more than that, like maybe 650 rounding out August, but we still wouldn't have reached July, May, and June.
Yeah.
So it's like a curve.
Yeah.
And this is what we say to do. So
yes, you're seeing a slowdown.
Yes, I said yes. But
okay.
So going into our topic, if you're going to take that information and go into our topic, this is why it's really important to kind of follow the process that we suggest rather than kind of finding the house, buying the house first and hoping and praying that you get what you want for your house, because now we're seeing that, it is kind of this bell curve that's happening.
Yeah.
You got to kind of know where you're at to know where you're going in the most secure way.
Well, also, I feel like there are a lot of buyers that are feeling very much like defeated or deflated from the past year. So now that I personally think that some of the properties that have been going on the market recently have been getting less offers. It might still be over asking, but like the quantity of offers that they're getting is less.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is sort of less competition out there because people feel very deflated.
Well, so something that we had talked about at the very beginning of the year to go along with that is we were like, guys, if you have a home sale contingency, really to align yourself in the best scenario possible, your house has to be under agreement. You really don't have in your March, April, Mays, you didn't really have too much of a shot unless you were crazy overbidding or you had really strong finances. If you had that home sale contingency, it was very hard to get your offer looked at. From experience right now in today's market, we know that to be the opposite because we've gotten plenty of properties under agreement that do have home sale contingencies. So less offers for sellers means better opportunities for the buyers that do have home sale contingencies.
Yeah. And I'm obviously never going to like divulge information that is confidential, but there are reasons why, in my position in the company where I have to look at a lot of these documents, and in a general sense, it is sort of across the board, and you're seeing sort of like the flip side of it. It's like you just said, like their financing might be strong. So it's okay that they have a home sale contingency, or it's okay that they're doing a home inspection. Like they're putting X amount of dollars down and it's okay.
Yeah.
Those types of things. So, not to quote Justin Bieber, but like never say never to some things, of course we would love to see, of course we would love to see, an offer that's, extraordinary. All clean is what we say. Okay, well, what's a clean offer? Now that we're going to use terms like that. So Sharon, what do you
what's
think?
Your ideal offer, Sharon?
Just like Ed Sheeran would say, I love the shape of you. Is that something you said?
I'm in love with the shape of you. Okay, we can't bring up Ed because I do seriously hysterically cry every time I hear his new song.
Oh no,
so.
Sharon, don't listen to it. Don't do it.
All right, I won't. But your question to me. Also, one of the things too is I think definitely what we're seeing, it's interesting because I was talking to somebody because we have a few things going on in Dorchester right now and in this sort of out in the city. And somebody had said to me, an agent said, so what's really going on down the South Shore? Is it that home sellers are like just putting their houses on the market really high because of what the market's doing? It's like they really had no intentions of moving, but they're going to anyways. And I think that some people did decide to do that. And I do think that they're probably very, very surprised at this little bit of a slowdown that we are feeling right now. And I think it has everything to do with what you guys were just talking about. I think buyers feel deflated and defeated. So they sort of bowed out, which puts sellers in a different sort of position. Now it's like looking at these offers. There used to be a time when I would look at, 15, 20, 40 offers, and one or two would always jump out at us like, all right, it's, cash, it's no home inspection, they're putting down 50%, whatever it is that was happening is no longer happening. We're not seeing that. So one of the things I've been trying to sort of wrap my head around a little bit is it that the really, really strong buyers are the ones that are no longer in the market because they're the ones that got deflated because they're like, look, I'm cash or I have really good financing. I'm not playing this game anymore. Like I'm giving you a good offer. It's time.
I'm a good catch is what they're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that they went away, but the other ones who were really not that strong of an offer, they're still lurking around out there and they're getting their offers accepted because the sellers don't have any other choices right now.
We did a show on this a little while ago.
Oh, I missed it.
What? What would we do?
Missed it. But I feel that now what we'll start to see is when we get into fall, now we generally have a very, very busy fall market. I'm wondering, and I'm sort of predicting that maybe those stronger buyers, we're going to start seeing them trickle out because they're listening to us now and they know that their competition isn't very strong. So if they are out there, they would be smart to get in the game now because chances are if they have really strong financing and no contingencies, even if their offer is less than the other guy, they'll probably get their offer accepted. Do you feel that way?
I would agree. I love the idea that people are listening to us and like being like, oh yeah, so Sharon, Mary, and Melissa said to go put our offers in now.
Yeah, well, they should. I mean, because honestly, the competition, first of all, it's a little anemic right now anyways. And I also feel as if it's anemic in another way where the quality of it isn't that great. So now they have not just anemia, but they have thalassemia minor. So,
okay, I'll go back to a stat real quick to play off of our sellers just kind of throwing their houses out there and seeing kind of what sticks and getting, basically seeing what has happened in the market and just trying to test the market to see what they can get. So the amount of price changed properties from total active listings in January, February, March was just around 40. When you get into April, 40 units. Yeah. April, May, June, and July, you almost double to 80 across the board. So it doubled the amount of price change listings that were going on market because they were testing the waters and they probably thought that the value of the house was a little bit higher than it actually was and had to make adjustments quite quickly. Mm-hmm. So that just goes to prove the point.
I just feel like like everything else, you just don't know until you try it. So, like you can't walk into somebody's house and say, oh, you could definitely get X amount of dollars because maybe that's your opinion. And I know that like we're supposed to be, well, we are professionals, and that's our job to give you a number. But at the end of the day, you're the one who has to make the decision if that number works for you. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't, especially if you are purchasing something else after the fact, and I just feel like, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
that's why I love Sharon's approach to everything because it's it's strictly based on the numbers, right?
Mhm.
So when we're doing market analysis for people, there is no opinion of value. This is what the numbers say.
Yeah.
I'll give you my professional opinion on it, but don't be surprised if your numbers come in between this value range that I'm giving you here, because I'm showing you what the market is doing.
Yeah.
So there's no, in my head, there's no gray area there. It's black and white. Like, I didn't make the numbers out of thin air.
Yeah. And I think too, I love how you just said that, like, it's an opinion of value. It's honestly what my professional, data is bringing to me, right? So after I dissect it in my research, that I'm telling you, this is where the numbers are going to come in. And it's really up to the seller to really put that price on their house. So my job is to educate them on the market and what it's doing, but it really is the job of the seller to put that final number on there.
Certainly.
And I really feel like, for the most part, we have, after I go through all of the data with everybody, they can fully see it, And right now we're sort of in between a little bit. Like, I did an analysis for a 3-bedroom gambrel a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I don't know how to say this, but like, you're sort of in purgatory. Like, you're in between this certain area where
Ranges.
houses. Yeah. So the last 6 months of data that I'm looking at, because that's an appraisal point of view, right? How an appraiser is looking at it. The last 6 months, I was looking at houses when I did this for them. I was looking at houses that were on the market in February, in March, like the end of February and early March, because there was snow on the ground. Well, that was before we had, I'll call it sort of like the Big Bang, like, going over and exploding. So we had those houses, but then I had maybe another 3-bedroom Cape that sold in June, where, Mary, you were given those numbers that it was a lot higher.
Yeah.
Right? May and June.
Yep.
So they're in that in between, but can you see what's happening? People on the radio can't see me, surely, but if you're watching on Facebook, I'm sort of using like a level, like, what are those things called? Like,
Oh, the scales, the balance scales.
Yeah, like the old fashioned scales. So what is that doing to us? So I have numbers that were in January, February, and March that were lower priced sold. Then I have ones in, later in the months that I'm using for the last 6 months that were higher price sales. But what's it doing? It's just evening it out again. So I'm getting back to that same exact number, that baseline number.
Well,
what we see is people bidding over as much.
It also depends on like what the inventory is. So it could be style of home. It's not just the price point, but it's the style of home, or is it a multifamily? Is it a duplex? Is it a condo that's in a complex? Like, these are things that we have to factor in as well. Because I feel like there are a lot of people who are just like, oh, the housing market is booming and I could get, a bunch of money for this, but it's like, yeah, but like, you're doing very general sort of statistics, but it's like, how about how many ranches? You have a raised ranch, you have just a 1-level ranch, you have a colonial, like you have to like specify. So that's why you sort of go in there and use all of like apples to apples or oranges to oranges, like, so it's not just like we sold X amount of properties in Plymouth County. It's like, all right, well, but how many were this style home? So that's your competition. Like, that's what you have to compare to, because you can't compare a
ranch,
1-level ranch to a colonial. It just doesn't work that way.
Mel, do you want to give all of our WATD listeners our phone number and all that good stuff? Maybe we'll get some questions and some people to call Ben and George.
Yeah, if you have any questions for us or comments or whatever you want to, talk about the process, you can give Ben a call. You can reach him at 781-837-4900, and he will connect you to us. Again, we're live on Facebook. So if you follow McNamara Broker Team, you're friends with Sharon Custom McNamara on any of the Connect pages, you can find us there as well. Sharon, you want to tell everybody again where you're at tonight?
Yeah, so if you are watching us on Facebook on any of our pages here, you'll see I have a background of a kitchen. I am actually in Dorchester right now, 11 Chelmsford Street in Dorchester. And I was here today. We had several back-to-back showings throughout the day. So I figured this was going to be the best place for me to do the show rather than doing it on the Southeast Expressway. So
Good choice.
yes, it's a good choice. So we did have back-to-back showings, and it looks like I got stood up, but that's okay. I'm sure that they'll have a reason why, but very much available it's a 2-unit property. That's awesome. And if you want more information about it, you can call me or text me 781-294-4848, 781-294-4848. Again, it is a 2-family in Dorchester, and it is in Adams Village, which is awesome. Just to sort of
absolutely great location.
Yeah, awesome look. We used to have our office right down the street. Yeah, so we had an office space down the street. And I want to also give a little plug that this Saturday from 8 until 10 a.m., I will be co-hosting McNamara on Money with Alyssa McNamara-Reed on her show. And we will be talking all things real estate. I have no idea what she's going to bring up yet, but I will be live on WATD from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. this Saturday.
Alyssa always asks the best questions.
Yeah,
she really does.
To do a show with her. It absolutely is.
Yeah. And I try to call in if I'm awake or if I know, like when I was doing open houses over at Copperwood and you would do it, I was always catch like the last half hour. So I'm like putting out my balloons, like trying to talk like, oh yeah, this, and this. I was listening to it in the car. So hopefully we can give a little ring a ding ding.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. So are you making fun of me?
No, I said we certainly can.
Oh,
we have 15 minutes left.
I know. And we haven't even gotten, Mary worked so hard on this last week too. All right. So,
because we all know Mary doesn't do anything for the radio show. So it was my one time.
Mary
my one time I showed up.
All right. Well then take charge. What do you want to talk about in the last 15 minutes?
Well, I almost want to do our pre-recorded show on our topic next week. Just because the last 15 minutes.
Okay, well then we can talk about whatever you want though. Just maybe stay away from more of the statistics because nobody can see them. So they can't follow along.
Yeah, we should do a blog.
We should do sad.
We should do a blog post on it.
All right. Well, Mary's going to write a blog post for you guys.
I'm putting out some nice canvas everywhere.
Nice canvas. Yeah. Oh, wait, but okay. So sorry, taking the reins again. I had said that after you gave your little blurb, that I would sort of talk about it from the company's perspective. So there are a lot of things, again, because of my position in the company that I get to sort of oversee a lot. So I see a lot of offers. I see a lot of purchase and sales. I see open house numbers. I see all these things. And what I have seen, I'll go to open houses first, because it's quick. The number of people going through open houses has drastically dropped. Yes, it's the summer. A lot of people go away. I have been trying to go to every single open house that we've had in this company all summer. The last weekend I wasn't able to attend a couple of the open houses, but I still get all of the numbers and try to do all the social media for all of the open houses. And the numbers have been dropping. I mean, it can be because of, the summertime, people are going away, people are getting, back into school. Apparently school's starting soon. I don't know. I don't have children and I feel like I graduated 40 years ago. But I don't, apparently school's starting. So, there's a lot going on, but at the end of the day, you need somewhere to live. So I would think that, and the price points have sort of been all over the place as well, with some of our new listings, but even, the office has I don't know. I feel like we're getting a listing boom. There are a couple agents in this office that have listings in their pockets that are like, all right, I'm ready to, fire away. And, I was helping Matt Mahoney, who is a full-time realtor here today. He has a condo going on in Whitman that I helped him do some social media for it and some flyers and help him with the MLS. And I know that Nick Flynn was here earlier helping him as well. So, we're all sort of helping each other. So we sort of get an idea of what's coming on the market. But, with me, a lot of the times I have to get all the paperwork and get all the signs and all that stuff. So I sort of know what's coming on. And Sharon checked in with me a couple times the past couple of days. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing banking. I'm doing banking because we've had so many closings. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, make sure you do that. I go, oh yeah, no, I did that because we're in a good position right now. Like there's just so much going on. We've had, a lot of closings as a company. And I feel like, what are we in? Are we in third quarter? We're in third quarter. I feel like this third quarter is going to be very strong when I go to do the numbers.
That'll be interesting to
third
see.
quarter. Yeah. Because
Yeah, one thing too is I think, because I didn't mean to cut you off there, but we're going on to our 11th year at Boston Connect since I opened the office. It's like October will be 11 years ago. I know. And I think now, I feel that, our logo and our brand, it's all just, it's just a really, really nice package. But I think that like our agents that are with us, that it's so much like we have like this holistic approach to selling real estate. And it's so nice to see our agents who are like working by referral and not getting sort of gunked up with like chasing after this or thinking it's a transaction, and just really, really taking care of their clients. And we've been seeing so much come through the office, like with testimonials, like Kristen Howlett got a wonderful testimonial the other day. I was out the other night, I bumped into somebody, they were mentioning one of our agents, like how wonderful that agent was to work with. It's just a really good place. But I really do think that we have to sort of commend our agents and sort of celebrate all of them for the good work that they're doing for their clients, because that's why our office is so busy. As a little boutique, we're like the little engine that could. And because we have literally the best agents, I believe, on the South Shore. And there's a lot of great agents on the South Shore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of the companies, I have a lot of friends out there in different companies, but I think our agents are just a special breed. And that's why they're busy, because referral after referral after referral after referral, which sucks. Yay, team.
Yay. Yeah. And, speaking of sort of like referrals, like we generally don't get like quote unquote leads. Like there's not a lot of offices where people just walk in the door, but that's been happening so often recently, and people just calling or going to the website and sort of, all that fun stuff. So if you do want to like sort of explore and look at some of the properties or look at, some of our agents, you can go to bostonconnect.com and sort of go crazy on there.
Check out everyone's profile.
Check out everybody's profile and stuff, and, see if you connect with any of the agents. But, and then obviously follow us on social media, because, I think that's doing the social media part is probably my favorite part of my job. But I think that, we've just had an increased number of people sort of reaching out to us. I've recently met a lot of new people. And when I say where I work, it's like, they oh, I see your signs everywhere. Oh, I see you, and me being me, I'm like, oh, where do you see the sign? And so, cause then I want to like, and it's just like a social gathering. It's not like it has anything to do with like wanting to buy or sell. It's like, oh, where do you see the sign? Cause I want to know like, oh, who's like doing.
They're like, lady, I was just being nice.
I was just being nice, weirdo. But yeah,
it's a really good feeling. We have a great crew. And that's why we're, continuing to see our numbers rise, even though Mary was given statistics of numbers that were going down. And that's the thing too, is it's a lot of hard work, and it's just staying focused and doing what's best for your client at all times, I think has really been our secret sauce right from the beginning, right? It just seems like, I don't spend time recruiting as a broker. People know how to find me if they're interested in us as a company, but I feel like we attract more than me trying to look for somebody, and I just think that the agents are just so helpful to each other, like the Flynn's helping. I loved it. When everybody was on vacation this summer, it was like, I was like, who's filling in for who? And I actually put in an offer for the Flynn's when they were away. And that's what I love about being a broker of a small firm. So we can do those things.
Yeah. When the Flynn's were away, I was, I think I was returning something at Target, and Sharon calls me and she's like, the Flynn's are away. Do you know who's covering for them? I'm like, Matt Mahoney. Matt Mahoney is. But then Matt had a wedding. So then Sharon put in the offer. So like, that's just how we sort of operate.
We pick up.
You got it. We got it.
We'll never let each other fall, for sure. So I know, Mary, what are some of your last final thoughts? Anyways, I know maybe we can continue. We're going to pre-record our show for next week. WATD has something that they have to do sort of during our time slot, after our time slot. I have no idea, but we're going to be pre-recording our show so we can catch on to some of the other topics. But do you want to give some final sort of tidbits here or thoughts on what we were thinking about here?
What were you thinking about for next week, or
A sneak peek, I guess.
Sneak peek?
You can talk about sneak peek, or if you had any final thoughts about what we're discussing tonight.
Oh, well, I agree with Sharon. I think this summer, from a stat standpoint, or just from a listings and a market, we felt the market slow down almost immediately when we hit July. And we almost knew it was coming, like there was an air about it. And the stats being there to prove it just makes me feel better that it's like, oh, I didn't make up in my head that a lot of buyers took themselves out of the market, and just want to see what's going to happen in September. So for fourth quarter, I'd be interested in revisiting something like this just to see if the stats would prove that we were right and that the fall is going to be really busy. Because that's what I think it is.
The market has a lot to do with this. Remember last year, we were talking this time last year, we were like, we don't know which way this election is going to go. We were in an election year. Well, right now, I don't know if people are starting to potentially lose a little bit of confidence in our current administration based on what's going on in Afghanistan. And is that going to cause some type of, demise with the market in general? Are people going to lose confidence with Delta variant coming out? Are people not going to be able to go out? And we heard today that the mask mandate is coming back on Friday. So are we going to be sheltering in place again? Are the markets going to go down? Are people going to start sort of squirreling their money again because they're not sure where they're going to be? We don't know, but sometimes we get a little influx of people like, all right, let me get out now. I was waiting to see if it was going to go higher, but I'm going to get out now. I expect we'll see some of that this fall. And those people taking off and going to Florida, South Carolina, we're seeing a lot of that type of movement to warmer climates.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's a little mentality of, with maybe a pending lockdown or shelter in place coming, that there's a lot of people who are like, I can't do another winter in Massachusetts here. So, I'm just gonna, I'm out. I'm done with this and see how they fare.
You think I could convince Mark to do that? Can I do my job from there?
I mean,
you guys basically do my job. So
I think he would probably agree if he could just take the boat there.
We could take a boat with him.
You could convince him by saying you could be on the boat all year round.
Well, I'll pull our money and buy Sharon's house.
Okay.
Oh,
okay. Next week.
You already have your own house. I get it.
Very true. Very true. My house that had water in the basement today. Oh, that's another story. Anyway, Mark's coming down to tell us if he wants to move to South Carolina. Anyways, next week. So what comes first doesn't really even do it justice. Well, I guess it is. I wanted to go through a step-by-step process of just what we would suggest doing. If you're thinking about, if you're even remotely thinking that you want to sell in the near future, the far future, it can't hurt to know where everything is right now for you, because as we've just proven through this whole entire exercise, the market is incredibly not volatile, but there's ups and downs. It waxes and it wanes, and it has this nice little bell curve that it's done for us over this past year in 2021. So we're looking at your numbers now, we're at a higher time of market. Where we're looking at them in 6 months could be completely different. So it's really important that you don't just assume what the price of your house is going to be and that you can afford X, Y, and Z going to the next step. You really have to do the research, sit down with a professional, get an opinion of value, hopefully one based off of numbers and not emotions. And really evaluate that and align yourself with a good team that's going to be there to support you. So that's what I want to talk about next week, because I think that will save a lot of people a lot of headache, a lot of heartache.
Yeah. And that will be good. I'm sorry, because I like the CMAs, I did one for someone the other day. Like I said, we're in that middle of, where that scale is sort of balancing us out a little bit. As those winter ones drop off, the numbers are going to go higher again for a little bit. So that's when people should think about putting their house on the market again. So as soon as those March those March sold statistics are falling out,
Mhm.
where I'm not looking, I mean, they're beyond 6 months now, we'll see those numbers go up a little bit higher. You won't see people bidding over them, but that's when you should put it on. And if it isn't the time right now, that's our job. My job is to help you understand or realize if you should be selling now or if you should be waiting. And if it's one of those things where you feel as if you should be waiting, well, that's great. We wait with you. And every month we'll do an analysis for you to see where you are that month. So we can sort of indicate, hey, things are starting to get lower. You better do it now.
Yeah, I love that. Love that.
Yeah. Sharon has sort of told people not to sell their house. So
It's transparency.
Yeah.
Like operate off of absolute transparency. And one of my favorite quotes, I know we're winding down, but it's about these people's financial future, all of our clients, and it's about a relationship that we build with them. So best way we can be is honest, open, honest. That's it. That's my little spiel.
That's it. So you'll have to tune in next Tuesday for our pre-recorded show. So you won't be able to interact with us, call us into the studio, but you can interact with us on social media.
We'll interact with ourselves.
We'll interact with ourselves. But thanks for listening to tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Touch base with us, bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. And we'll sort of see you next week. Well, you'll hear us, but we'll be back a week after that.
Bye, Sha.
Bye. Bye, Ben. Bye, George.
7 o'clock.